Welcome back, everyone. Let's go ahead and do a comparison between the iPhone 8 Plus and the iPhone XS Max and see which iPhone is a better one for you in 2022. Now, I will definitely tell you the XS Max is the better one in pretty much every single area, but the iPhone 8 Plus is still a pretty good iPhone for the most part, and it's pretty legendary as well. If you want to pick up either one of these devices, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, you can definitely tell side by side, they're actually roughly around the same exact size in terms of body, but the iPhone 8 Plus on the front had an IPS panel, as you guys can tell, and it was pretty decent 1080p display. The only issue with this specific panel is that it does have quite a bit of bezel around it, and that was really the only problem. I think the 8 Plus's design is still pretty common. I feel like a lot of people still kind of use home button iPhones, but this was a dated design. Right now, it wasn't super dated in 2017, but with the iPhone 10, it was a little bit, dated at that point. With the iPhone XS Max, on the other hand, we have a Super Retina OLED display on this one, and it's a 6.5-inch display. The resolution is a little bit higher, but I will tell you this panel is still very good for the most part, especially when compared to something like the iPhone 8 Plus. You have a little bit of bezel around it, but not even that big of a deal compared to the iPhone 8 Plus, and you also have that notch up top as well, which I think is really, really decent for it still being here for most other iPhones too. And this phone coming out a year after the iPhone 8 Plus, it's actually very interesting to see how big of a leap Apple made with this type of design. So in terms of everything, the iPhone XS Max is definitely the better one here. In terms of thinness and thickness, the iPhone XS Max is definitely a thicker phone than the iPhone 8 Plus, which, like I said before, I'm totally cool with. With having a thicker phone, you want it to have bigger batteries and everything, but the XS Max's battery size wasn't even that big, according to their specific size of this phone. I feel like they could have done a little bit of a better job, but it is what it is. There's nothing we can really do about it. And in terms of the back, we have dual camera setups as well. Kind of the exact same setup for the most part, if you ask me. A wide and a telephoto lens. You have wireless charging on both glass backs as well. My iPhone 8 Plus has a very cracked back, and that kind of covers it up on the outside. There really isn't that crazy big of a difference between these two other phones besides that. Again, like I mentioned, you are getting a much more modern designed iPhone on the XS Max, but I still think if you kind of think about these side by side, they're very similar, similar size, similar. I think the XS Max is bigger. I mean, in terms of like heaviness, it's heavier, but they're very similar in a lot of different ways. Now, in terms of longevity and software, the iPhone XS Max is definitely going to be outlasting the iPhone 8 Plus, and it's never been more evident than now. Apple has been pushing out so many features and updates for the XS series and above, especially on iOS 16, and as of right now, that's kind of where we're at. I feel like with the 8 Plus, though, I feel like it could have lasted a little bit longer had Apple supported it with all the features of iOS 16 or most of them. I feel like, the difference between the Apple 11 Bionic chip and A12 Bionic chip that these two phones have, I feel like there's never been a bigger discrepancy with older phone softwares and newer ones. But another cool thing about, with having like a XS Max is with its styling. I feel like with the gesture-based design you're getting on a XS Max, I love that gesture-based design, and it's really cool to have something like that on a phone like the XS Max, and it makes it feel that much more premium and that much more current than something like the iPhone 8 Plus. So in terms of that, that covers it up there. Now let's go into a speed comparison between both these phones. The iPhone XS Max has that Apple A12 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 8 Plus had that Apple 11 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the fast one between both of these. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cleared out in the background, as you guys can tell. So let's get into it. Phone calls, 3, 2, 1. I think the iPhone 8 Plus was a little bit faster there. That was very, very weird. Music, I do not have your settings, 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing. Hopping out of here. Camera, 3, 2, 1. I think the XS Max was slightly faster. Let's take a photo. Let's go get into the photo. About the same thing. Maybe the 8 Plus was slightly faster. That was very, very close. Mail, 3, 2, 1. I think the iPhone 8 Plus was faster. I have no idea what's going on here. Photos, 3, 2, 1. I think the iPhone 8 Plus was faster there too. This is very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and do the app stores. 3, 2, 1. Totally messed that one up. And I still feel like the iPhone 8 Plus would have been fast. And honestly, the iPhone 8 Plus was much faster here than the iPhone XS Max, even though I opened it up way later on the iPhone 8 Plus. That was very strange to me. I don't know what's going on with the iPhone XS Max. They're both on iOS 16, so it's very strange that we're getting that type of performance decrease and increase, but it shouldn't really have that big of a deal, especially with them being so close in software. Let's do health, which I do not have here. So that in and of itself is actually pretty insane to me. I have a lot of these third-party applications we can go and test as well, but I want to try files, 3, 2, 1. So I keep messing up and I keep hitting them and they don't keep opening on the iPhone 8 Plus, which is very weird. Let's try Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Now this is a bigger game. I'm going to wait out to see if we have any pop-ups that happen so I can go and quickly click out of them. And you can see that the iPhone 8 Plus is loading into the game much faster, and the iPhone XS Max is frozen now. So I don't know what's going on with the XS Max. It's very strange. I haven't had this type of experience on my XS Max, and I don't think ever. So it's very strange this phone is acting like this now. Snake first block, 3, 2, 1. Okay, XS Max is faster here now finally, but it glitched up. Actually, they both were kind of glitching up, so very, very strange. I have no idea what's really going on here. Hopping out of here, Netflix, 3, 2, 1. And you can see, I think the iPhone XS Max was slightly faster. On Dropbox, 3, 2, 1. Very close. I don't know if either of them are going to load up the image, but it was still very close between both. We can try something like Twitter, 3, 2, 1. A little glitch when I clicked on it on the iPhone XS Max, so that was also very strange. And we can try another one. We can try like Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. But I think we're kind of seeing what's going on here. I think the iPhone 8 Plus was quite a bit faster in sometimes than the iPhone XS Max. The iPhone XS Max also beat the iPhone 8 Plus as well in some areas. So it's very interesting how close these phones were in terms of the comparison of speed. I think ultimately, I think the XS Max is probably the faster one. It's also a smoother one. I like having that home button. I like the home button too, but I like having that gesture-based design over the home button, in my opinion. So I think when it comes down to it, I think the iPhone 8 Plus surprised me, and it is probably 50-50 when it comes down to the speed, if I'm being honest. So in terms of that covers it up in the speed department. Now in terms of the cameras, I will definitely tell you, as I said earlier on in this video, with that dual camera setup on both, there's really not that big of a difference. You're kind of getting the exact same setup, wide and telephoto lenses, 4K at 60 on the back as well. The only big difference is the iPhone XS Max can do 1080p at 60 on the front, but you're probably also getting a better camera setup on the iPhone XS Max. I like dual camera setups though, and I wish either of these phones had an ultra-wide sensor. Unfortunately, neither of these phones have it. Now, if you're strictly taking photos and stuff, you're going to be having a pretty decent experience on both, as expected. You have, that telephoto lens, so you can zoom in a bunch, and having all these other sensors is great. You can utilize that portrait mode, which is really cool. You have slow mode capability here. So I would definitely say you have a lot of capability when it comes down to it on even something like this device, but it's not going to be here. It's not going to be the one I would recommend forever, in my opinion, but it's still here for a while, and it's not a bad device in my opinion in the camera standpoint. The XS Max though is definitely the better one though. I feel like having that 1080p at 60 and a newer sensor is always a really good thing too. If you're taking photos and everything, it's going to be awesome. I love having this bigger display, so you have like somewhat of a bigger viewfinder as well. And you do have, it's really pretty much the same exact camera, to be honest. This one's probably going to be giving you higher, quality camera, higher quality photos and videos, but I don't think it's going to be a astronomical difference. And I would definitely say probably the camera department is the smallest difference between these two, in my opinion. But ultimately, if I were to sum up this whole entire video, I would probably say that the iPhone XS Max is definitely a better phone to pick up than the iPhone 8 Plus in pretty much most areas. I feel like this phone, not only is it going to be lasting much longer than the iPhone 8 Plus, but it's going to be one of those devices that's going to be here for quite a bit of time. I probably also wouldn't recommend only considering the XS Max. I would consider the 11 Pro Max if you have the ability, but this device is still really good for the most part. I think the 8 Plus, though, is still a legendary device too. Was one of the last home button iPhones for a little bit of time, and I think if you have to buy something, go for this. You can't really go wrong with it. But the XS Max is definitely the better one here, and I would recommend going up to this one if you have the ability. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that means so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly, everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.